fingers.
All right. I'm
Screen
crossing.
Active. Data is getting to restream.
Oh, shit.
Look at that. We're live.
Live,
Woohoo!
baby. Live.
Live.
I'm talking live. There we are. I see it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. We are live.
Hey, everyone.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo. I'm not used to watching off the monitor.
Lunchtime.
Lunchtime.
Oh, yeah.
Get something. Get something now. Get something now.
All right. Everything looks awesome. Everything is awesome. All right.
Everything is beautiful in its
Beautiful.
own way. Okay.
All right. Everything looks good, guys.
I'm sharing the show.
All right, I'm sharing. I'm a sharing fool. That's good. That's good, folks. All right. There you go. I have to pull this in. I have to see.
Oh,
Yeah, looks good, Tony. Looks really good.
Looks really good.
That's good. That's good, folks.
Is Facebook looking? Yeah. Welcome, everybody that's joining us right now. Please share the show.
Hey,
Come on
I
down.
lost an earplug. Thanks.
All right. Oh, there we go. That is pretty. God, that looks great.
Maybe you could actually take another piece of tape and just tape it and loop it around there.
All right, YouTube, everybody's looking good.
Just wait, take it and do it here, and then tab it onto there. No, yeah, no. Like this. See what I'm saying?
Okay.
I can't because I got a bad hand and I'm holding it with the other hand. I'm holding this. So, right there. Tape it down. It doesn't matter.
All right, cool.
Okay. Now we'll need this. We'll need this.
All right, couple minutes, everyone. We would really love it if you guys would join in the conversation today, comments, because we like to read stuff on the air and talk about it.
And hear what you've been doing.
Share the show, yeah, and hear what you guys have been doing. We know what we've been doing.
Share.
We want to hear what you've been doing.
Okay. If you can give me some more love up here, that would be great.
Some more love.
Some more love. I need
Give me some more love.
And the tape love is right on top of the other tape. That's fine.
Would be fine.
Okay. Okay, we got John Curtis and Jason Ollinger are watching. That's awesome. That's great. Getting some love.
All right.
Getting some love from John Curtis, I think, there. Giving us some likes. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, maybe, we're so away from the viewers sort of on the other, in the studio. This is a little better,
Yeah.
You can't be there.
We're saving the environment.
Saving the environment.
Yeah, we're
and
saving
each other.
the environment. Yeah. We're saving the studio environment.
Mm.
which,
Yes,
ironically,
Renee. I got to get off the phone in 26 seconds.
There you
Okay,
go.
every time Bernie says, hey, Zachary, all of a sudden my, what do you call it, Siri comes on, we're not going to help you. They won't let me finish.
All right, 10 seconds, everyone.
all right.
Okay. Watch us on Facebook.
Say bye-bye,
Good
Gary.
night.
Bye.
Live from home. That's where we all are. We're remote. That's what the show's called today, remote, because we are all coming at you remotely. So let me introduce Gary Heimann. Mr. Gary, how you doing, buddy? And Tony.
Pretty good.
Tony
Just clicking
wiping
off
your
my calendar.
off.
Sorry, I guess no more work.
Clean the calendar. Clean it off.
Clean the
it off.
calendar.
Oh,
Everything
my
got canceled.
God, yeah. You know what? Neither of us have jobs, but the guy who does have a job on this thing is Tony Hope.
Yeah,
He's actually
he's
getting
here.
paid.
Hello, everyone.
Tony,
Yeah,
how you doing,
there-
buddy?
How you doing, Tony? How do you do it? Tony, can I get on? Can you hire me? Oh, wait, I'm paying you.
You're paying me.
That's my nightmare. Mike Uribe, Austin Sabato, how you doing, guys? Great seeing you. Thanks for watching. We want to hear from you, too. We want to hear how this whole thing has affected you and what you're doing. Honestly, I've gone shopping, which was not a good experience, I would say. And just did a little work down at the yard, but not much. Mostly watching TV and watching the depressing news. So we'll just see how that goes. So let me hear what you guys are doing out there. Gary, what have you been doing so far?
Well, let's see. Maybe I can use some art like you on my walls. Who's your set director, by the way? I need to know your set director.
I just sat down in the chair. It always looks like this. This is a very natural home look. Yeah. No, I actually am lucky enough to live with an art director. My beautiful wife, Arife, who is a wonderful artist, did the Bob Marley painting behind me.
Very nice, beautiful.
And she set it up like that, which is pretty good. This is little. We live in Laguna Beach. We're right in town, so we got a little loft apartment here that we've lived in about 9 years. We love our little place, but I noticed today, Arife was a little like, I thought, oh, she's telling me to do a lot of stuff and things, and I thought, I think I might be annoying her after 3 days.
Well, the prediction I have, here's my prediction. I think that there'll be a lot of babies in 9 months and a lot of divorces in about 3 months.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think you're right. There's a lot of pressure on all of us, but specifically our industry and the individuals that we know, because that's you and I, Gary. I mean, that is just that's the people that we're go-getters. We're always doing something. We're looking for the next thing. You take that away from us and we don't know what to do with ourselves. I'll tell you what, no one in our industry has a hobby. Okay?
Right.
There is the hobby is work. And that's what you do. We are lost without that sort of self-scale of what we're doing in work. Right or wrong, that's the way it is, because that's the type of dedication that our work takes. Greg Flores is watching. How you doing, brother? Great. Thanks, John Curtis. Appreciate it. Give us some likes if you can, too, guys. We love that. but that is the type of thing that we really self-identify with is work, and you take that away from us. And look, I'll just tell you, just like you were cleaning your calendar up, I had 12 jobs go away. I would have probably
Yeah.
gotten another 6 in those 12 jobs in that about, for the next month, till the end of the month. And that's all gone. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do financially, and I don't know what to do with myself and how to get clients. Now, I'm doing things and I've got some advice on doing it, but you really, I think it comes to the bottom line, you have to connect with your community. You have to talk to your tribe. I'll say it that way.
Yeah,
Give me your
and
thoughts, Gary.
everything that's coming over the media, it's up to you to decipher what's blown out of
Yes,
proportion and what is right for you. I think
yes,
that's your job at this point.
yep, yep. And just to give some notes, we have been locked down, and I think that happened last night by Governor Newsom.
Hmm.
That we are shelter in place, or some of these terminologies I'm just not up on. You know what I mean? But stay home essentially. Don't go
Right,
anywhere. And if
right,
you have to go
exactly.
somewhere, you're just going. Now we went to the Albertson store this morning because and I'll talk about this a little bit more, not to be an alarmist, but I think there's a very, very good chance they could call a national shutdown,
Hmm.
national emergency this weekend. And I don't know that. But I think it's a very realistic possibility considering everything that's happened so far. And we went to the Albertsons, which is a huge store on Sand Canyon. You know, I mean, it is a
Hmm.
big mega store. Those shelves were empty. I
Yeah,
mean, there was all
yeah,
out of lunch meat, all out of meat, all out of eggs, all out of cheese. Everything was gone. There was about a third of the items that would have been in the vegetable thing. Certainly, bread was ravaged. No toilet paper, needless to say. No
yeah. Of
paper
course not.
products
No, no,
whatsoever.
no.
All of the pasta in the 2 aisles on either side, completely cleaned out. There was one bag of pasta, one bag.
Yeah.
And, uh, it was shocking to me. I'm in my 70th year. I just had a birthday. And
Hmm.
in all my years in the United States, and I grew up poor. I grew up poor, hotels, living with relatives, rental houses, all of that stuff. I never felt it as desperate as I felt in that store this morning. And
It
it
was a
was just
helpless
like
feeling.
Armageddon. It was a helpless feeling. If I wanted to buy it, I couldn't buy it. That's the first time in this consumer America that I have ever felt like that. You know,
Yeah,
and it
it
was
felt
not
really
good.
weird to me. It felt really
Yeah,
weird to
did
me
it?
too,
Did
Bernie,
it? Yeah.
because I had a sense of urgency and I really probably wasn't picking up the right items, the right healthy items, because you want something
Oh,
that's going to last you a little bit longer than the fresh food. So found myself in the middle of the store getting a bunch of preservatives, basically,
yeah.
in all my meals.
Well, you know what, Gary? That is a very good point. I had a stroke, 8 weeks ago, and I went all plant-based
Yeah.
diet, and my wife looked at me and she goes, you may have to eat meat sometime. And I mean, she's the last person who would say that to me. You know what I mean? But considering what we have on hand and the looks of that produce section that I saw there, it's a fact. I might. Now, I mean, we bought fish. They did have some fish, and we bought that. Although I wanted to not even eat fish,
Right.
but you know, immediately what was left on the shelf too. All the staples were gone. All the
Right.
flour and stuff like that. But there was a lot of junk left. You know what I mean? There was a
Sugar
lot
and
of
salt. Sugar and
sugar and
salt.
salt, sugar and
Yeah.
salt. Yeah. You know what was gone was every single box of macaroni and cheese. Every
Yes.
single
Yes.
item that even smelled like mac and cheese was gone. And
That was
and
absolutely gone.
I'm telling you, dude, I felt like I was third world, you know. Grandma G, you're watching, Carlos Leon. You know, we
Woohoo!
have, I'm just going to try to read, excuse my leaning over like this. I'm just going to try to say, John Curtis, we have shutdowns and empty shelves here in Michigan, but I'm still working every day building fire sprinkler valves. Okay, that's awesome. I'm dedicated to saving lives. That's awesome, John. And to help anyone who needs it. Boy, bingo, my friend. Bingo, my community member right there, John, because I'll
Mm-hmm.
tell you that is exactly what we have to do. And that is the main theme. And that is our main job right now, I think, is connecting back with our tribe, connecting with our community, reaching out to our community, and seeing who needs our help and how we can be of service. Forget anything else. Forget anything else. The thing now is this is not business as usual. You save your neighbor, you save your community member, you save your tribal member there,
Mm-hmm.
but you go into it and you work hard. I'm really thank you for that message, John. Really awesome, awesome stuff. We want to hear what everybody else is doing, what your thoughts are. You know, I'll tell you in all honesty, you know, somebody my age who has worked in the industry this long, you know, you really, I mean, I've got enough humility to know that I don't know it all. You know what I mean? That is a given. But I've also got enough street wisdom to know that I know how to handle myself. Honestly, I feel like I'm in a place where I don't know the rules anymore, and that's very disconcerting. And it creates tension. When I was in that store, I felt tension. When I'm watching the news, I feel tension, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what the rules are anymore. And I think we're all there right now. I think that's happening to each and every one of us.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
that's a
Gary.
game. It's a game changer for all of us, Bernie. You know, it's uncharted territory, and we were never taught to be in this situation. What to do? You know, what
No,
personality to show. It was
no.
hard for me to make eye contact with people. Also,
Uh-huh.
that's what I found hard to do. And just to be overall nice to people, you know, acknowledging their presence and saying, "Hi, how are you?" It was a tough thing to do.
Yeah,
It's a tough
it
thing to get
wasn't
used to.
exactly, Gary. And I will say this: it wasn't the usual store experience where you're kind of
Yes.
making eye contact, you're polite, you know what I mean, and things like that. There was a level of shame involved. I felt, you know, with
Yes.
everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah. Urgency and shame.
urgency and shame. Yeah, yeah, and embarrassed you were there. You know, and sort of embarrassed that you needed to be there. You know, and
Right.
sorry, I'm just having trouble with this earpiece. This is my ears were not made for earpieces. I can tell you that. Um,
And so, Bernie, you know, I'm hoping some of the viewers out there have some base knowledge of what governmental support we're going to have as far as you know, some the checks that are supposedly coming. There's a base set at 75,000, 100,000. But does anybody know if that is that net, gross, adjusted income? If any of the viewers might have an inside
yeah, we'd
information on
love
that,
to
I'd
hear
like to
from
hear.
you. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and I've got a little
absolutely.
bit. I've got a few notes on that. Let me. I got William Primrose, great viewer. William, thank you for your support. We really love hearing from you. That's great. And William lives in Canada, I know, and he goes, "Wow, shelves are empty. Up here where I am, our grocery stores are about 80% stocked. Tons of meat and dairy. Only toilet paper is gone, of course. I have been
Mhm.
so lucky because financially we have a large annuity every month. Well, that's great. Our food supplies are so far well stocked. Of course, we have maybe 14 million people in Ontario, which is a huge province. In editing and catching up on archaeology programs. Okay, so he's editing, catching up on some of his archaeology, and and, and the film industry is 100% shut down. Our government is giving us money in April, and that's That's good. You know, I'm not going to be very politically correct when I'm talking today. Okay. And because I just feel like it's straight out. Maybe some of you saw my rant on my page earlier in the week and Rebecca Cunningham and Jack, Nick Davidoff. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Um, I was very vocal and adamant about 4,000 a month because I think that's what we need. That's the average living wage in the United States right now. 4,000 a month, 48,000 a year. You need at least that to make ends meet. And I would say that goes for every person who's a taxpayer and anybody over 18 who's registered for the draft. I think that's important that money comes in. Now, I know that the Republican Senate, Mitch McConnell, he has set that at $1,200 a month and $2,400 for a couple. Do the math, people. Could you get by on it? Could you pay your rent on it? Could you make your car payment? Could you put gas in the car? You know, I forget doing anything. Could you buy groceries with it? $1,200 for an individual does not pack it. Let's get real. And this is your government in the United States, and I want you to get down. I mean, look, you know, all we do is go to work in this country. We put our heads down every day and we go to work. I don't want to get on a tirade again. Please don't get me started. I have to join yours to pump the chest. But I'll tell you, we need more than that. And I think we got to be very vocal about that too. And also, there's going to be people, we are not your typical employees here in media. They think of us as somebody who's getting unemployment and just going to the next job, and then a couple of weeks our jobs will come back and somebody will put us to work. It's not like that. It's not like that. We charge, part of our rate that we charge is being available for the next job. When that's not there, that's not there. I think about our brothers and sisters who are in the service industry, the restaurant workers, the bartenders. They tip, and you know, I've gotten of some feedback from people that have said, you know, well, you know, if people saved, you know what I mean, they wouldn't be in this situation. Well, this situation happened in a week. This is not something you ever saw coming either. You know what I mean? And let's face it, we are raised to be two things in this country: employees and consumers. Okay? Our consumerism is what makes this country prosperous. And because we spend all our money buying stuff, they never encourage us to save. You know, if that was the case, you'd have a 5, 6, 7% interest rate for savings. You know, we don't encourage savings. We encourage spending. So when something hits you like this, you've got to come to the aid of the families and the aid of the people and the consumers who are actually supporting the government and everything that we have in it. So some pissant, $1,200 per person a month, that doesn't pack it. That does not pack it. And you better talk, Gary, because otherwise I'll
Okay. Here, tag, I'm in. Tag me, Bernie, I'm in. Put me back in the ring.
Bam, I
Bam,
gotcha.
I'm in the ring now. You know, to the crisis, there's always the front end, you know, what we're dealing at this present time. And, you know, we hear that Governor Newsom said, hey, if you're struggling to pay your rent, we're not going to allow evictions, and they're going to try to alleviate all the financial hardships, the big payments. Well, I'm concerned on the back end. What about all the negative credit reporting that's going to happen? That's going to put us in a really big dire strait at that point.
Yeah.
So if anybody knows about that, I'd like to hear also.
Yeah, as would I, because, you know, my thing, Gary, has been is that Governor Newsom doesn't have a contract with my landlord. I do. You know,
Exactly.
they can elect to enforce that contract at any time they choose. There is no penalty. He's making a suggestion, okay?
Right.
And that's all it is. I want some assurances that if I get down in the woods and no one is calling for work, no one is doing anything. You know, I bust my ass just like you do of bringing work in every month. You know,
Oh,
that's
yes.
that doesn't just happen. You know, they don't call you out of the blue. You know what I mean? They call you because you've worked hard for a reputation and you're out there throwing your name around. You know, and when that
Absolutely.
doesn't happen, I need the state to back me up now. And you know what? The problem I think with a lot of folks in here, a lot of us Americans, is that we think that somehow a handout is welfare. It's not welfare. Okay, that's what your government is for: is to support your economic reality that you're creating. And I just think that we get real skittish when we think about this government support stuff and all that. But we got to get over that. This is not we're in new territory, people. We're in new
Yeah.
territory. This is worldwide, and you're out of work. And you know what? Your government has to come to your aid.
Yeah. A period. You put a period
Period.
exclamation
Thank
point on
you.
that one.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's
Tony,
exactly
we haven't
right.
heard from Tony. What's he doing over there? He's still eating? Is Tony still eating?
He's eating the
Tony,
good
where are you?
stuff.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
He's here,
What does
just
it
sitting
feel
back
like?
listening, just sitting back listening.
Yeah. What does it feel like to be working today, Tony? What's that like?
Uh,
How's that?
it's, well, I don't want to brag, but it's actually kind of fun. I've been walking around the house all day going, yeah, I get to do something really fun today. So, yeah,
Right.
it's been kind of
You
cool
know,
setting all this
you know,
up.
the truth is I tell you, I'm a talking head. Gary's a talking head. The guy that makes this show happen is Tony, and I mean every week,
Oh, yeah.
every week. Anytime you see me,
Yeah.
it's because Tony's been spending 2 hours working his ass off. That's kind of the barometer, or the math equation. The math.
Truth.
That's the truth. That
Hey,
is
Truth.
so
the
Yeah,
truth.
that's the
Tony,
truth. Yeah.
so Bernie and I have passed that owning kids at home. How are you dealing with your kids?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
hell.
Your high school.
It's hell. Yeah, no, I have
Don't
I have
hold
two
back.
Oh
17 year
Don't
olds.
goodness.
hold
Yeah.
back, Tony. Don't hold
No.
back.
I have two 17-year-old teens at home, and and now my wife is actually home because she works for Chapman University, so
Mhm.
they've sent her home now, uh,
Oh,
at least for the next 30 days. So there are
Wow,
four
30
essential
days.
adults in a house right now,
wow.
sharing
Wow.
food
Wow.
and
Wow.
love.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
that's yeah. That comes with a lot of pressure. That comes with a lot of pressure, and I think
Yes.
that everybody has to really. I think one of the things, I'll tell you, for years and years and years, I worked out of a lot of anger. And I worked out of a lot of, I'm going to persevere. I'm going to be the guy. I'm not going backwards. I'm going to be better than where I came from. And no matter what it took, I did that. And, I ended up finally in therapy for a while. It was the best thing I ever did. And one of the things that I really learned in there is you can't be afraid to talk to people and the ones that are people around you about your feelings.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, the real truth is you are talking to them all the time, only you're talking in negative terms. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You're telling them how you feel, but in a negative way. So I think that's one thing everybody should remember is that, you know, talk it out. If you don't
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it, if you're having problems, do it. And everybody understands that too.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is that I think a lot of people think of, I don't know, I guess work, but at least to me, it's a bit of a respite sometimes because
Hmm.
I most of my time I work out of my home. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
an editor. I do a lot of post production, motion graphics, that kind of stuff. So I spend a lot of time at home. So the times that I actually get out of the house and get out into the studios and do that kind of stuff, that's kind of a respite. So that's been a little different experience right now. So we're all shut in yeah, 24/7. So we're getting a lot of
Yeah,
cleaning done, which is great. But
that's good.
yeah, and my wife's 50th birthday was supposed to be this weekend too. We got a big party planned,
Oh
and
boy.
that unfortunately got all canceled as
That
well. So
evaporated.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that
yeah,
all
Yeah.
ended. So,
yeah.
but to
So
say, yeah, I mean to piggyback on something you said though, I mean I think you do have to remain positive through all this.
Yes.
You have to have a sense of we're gonna get through this. Yeah, it's gonna suck right now for the next 30 days. Could be longer. Who knows?
Yep. Yep.
But we will get through this on the other side.
Yep.
Things may not be the same, but we will get through it. And you just have to use your time wisely and and be productive, even if you're not working. You know, I think we
Yes.
said this on
Yes.
right.
Wednesday, and when we did the show last Wednesday, is that
Yeah.
use this time to educate yourself, learn how to use
Hmm.
if you're an editor or if you do post production or that, like I do. Uh, Learn new techniques, plugins, you know, things that you may have that you may have bought
Sure.
and never touched. Or spend time reading if you're camera people or G&E. You know, there's plenty of sites out there where there's great information and tutorials and all kinds of great stuff. So,
Yep.
you know, spend your
Yep.
time wisely.
That's very good, Tony. That's really really awesome. Gary, what are you doing these
You know,
days? I mean, what
I
has it
just
been for you?
I I just wanted to, get a little feedback from you, Bernie. Uh, and I'm talking on a broad spectrum. The government says, "Hey, we need to save all big businesses and
Oh,
keep them afloat with whatever means possible." Well, to me, hey, that's great. Keep the companies open, providing income to their employees. I get all that, but at the end of the day, they're providing services and products.
right,
And
right.
if the rest of us, if we're not working or we get these small handouts, how's that going to keep the company alive when there's nobody buying anything?
Well, Gary,
Just wanted to get your
this is
feedback on that.
yeah. Oh, you know what? You know, the Gary is like the guy with a stick poking the animal in the cage right now.
Here, kitty, kitty, kitty.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, my feelings are pretty well known on that fact. But this is what gets me, and this is what another thing that I think, and this is sort of a little bit of what I've been hearing. Let me take that. Let me take it from a different place here. We have been trained as people, as citizens of our country, as fellow workers, and all that, to judge the other guy very harshly on what we think he ought to be doing. You know, I've heard things like, and you know, people said, "Oh, you're not going to give them 4,000 cash, are you? Because they'll just go out and do whatever they want with it. Like everybody turns irresponsible, you know." But most of the people, they take that 4,000 and more, and they pay their bills with it every month. You know, we have a criticism of each other that is not healthy. We don't support when the other we think the other guy is getting the deal. We want it for ourselves, but we don't support the other guy. We've got to leave that at the doorstep. We've got to come together. And I think you've got to really start supporting and saying, look, this isn't a handout. This is not a handout. This is not, you're not helping me. You're using the money that I have paid you over a lifetime to get me through a crisis that was not of my making. And you're mandating actions from me because the government is trying to solve a problem. And I agree with that mandate. I agree. I'm saying that is probably what you have to do. But you don't leave me in the mud because of that. And you don't, sprinkle fairy dust in the form of $1,200 a month on me and expect that to work. You know, I'm saying that we have to we have to stop judging somebody getting something as welfare or a handout or something that they don't deserve. We deserve this money. And the numbers I've been hearing, are like 400 billion, or in some of these industries, like to prop up the airlines, stuff like that. It's ridiculous. I've even heard of people say, well, we need to bail out the cruise ship industry. Really? The fucking cruise ships? Now, see, when I start cussing, that's when I'm reservation here. But really, the cruise lines, we need to save that. We need to save the damn cruise lines, really?
The
So you can
frustrating thing,
booze everybody up?
the frustrating thing about this is that you see these massive payouts. You see these CEOs making millions, multi millions of dollars, and
Unbelievable.
with the recent tax cut, where they were doing a lot of stock buybacks and increasing their wealth, and now they want a handout. Like, well, maybe guys should have been planning for this for the last 2 years, 10 years,
Well,
whatever.
and another thing is they have been making money hand over fist solidly for the last 5 years. I'll give them the first five and say it was a comeback, but
Yeah.
for the last five, they have been pounding that away. And you know what they've been doing? They've been buying their stock back. They haven't been putting
Oh,
it in the rainy day fund. They haven't been doing anything
no.
but jerking their stock around. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And we're supposed to bail them out now for that? I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think so. And this is not, too, I don't want anybody to misread me. I am not against helping a company, but how many times have I looked back and you heard these stories over and over? Apple pays no income tax. Amazon pays no income tax. They're got factories offshore, never a penalization for that, never a payback to the American people for that, taking manufacturing out of the country. And they really leave the economics on the backs of guys like us who are small business owners who are employing maybe two or three, four people a month for a month. You know what I mean? And time again, that's where it falls. I'll tell you over the years, and I know this, I mean, there's guys that I make $70,000, $80,000 a year just by making sure they go on my jobs. Now, that doesn't mean I directly pay them, the clients pay them, but I put them right in line with that. I pay some people directly, but
Mm-hmm.
then for us, they're talking about a small business loan.
Yeah.
We need that's this shit is going to stop this cycle. I will say that because I remember 2008, and boy, you'd have no idea how I'm trying to keep myself in the can right now. But I remember 2008, a $1 trillion bailout, $1 trillion bailout. And they never put a single onus on them. Like you have to hire so many people in the next 3 years. You have to give deals or cuts to the people on your products, or let Americans get a better deal. This was all coming from our money. They never
Yeah.
did any of that crap. And this is what I'm seeing working up today. And I'll just tell you, I am independent, first of all. Okay. I think the Democrats have some big ass problems, but nothing compared to that psycho farm of Republicans. Not even close, okay? Because those guys are always willing to throw the little guy down the tubes. And I know that the Democrats are not far behind. Don't get me wrong. They'll look at AB 5. That's a Democrat law. You know what I mean? They take the highest bidder, which in this case was the unions, and they make a law like AB 5 because they look very
Yeah.
narrowly at something that their caucus or their people of support can do. So I'm not in dreamland thinking that the Democrats are going to save us by any means. But
No.
I will tell you, they want to preserve their little fiefdoms. And if they get scared enough, they will. And if we're loud enough, they will get scared enough. Because I'll tell you what, really, this is still sort of an ice cream sundae going on this week. in 3 weeks after everybody's been cooped up and the first comes and you owe rent and you owe those bills and maybe your cell phone's getting cut off, you're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
that's
well,
called,
it's
Bernie? That's a
What?
Rocky Road ice cream.
Yeah, that is Rocky Road ice cream. That's the ice cream sundae. Yeah.
well, the
Yeah.
first is 10 days
So,
from
Yes.
now. So,
yeah, with 10 days from now, okay,
yeah, the
is the
first is 10
first.
days
Yeah.
from now.
Yeah, and I just something tells me I have not been in contact. We will be in contact. I hope they're not. I hope they're not watching this, but I'll be in contact with my landlord, and I'll be talking to him. Certainly about a rate reduction. I can tell you that. I
Yeah.
can probably make a deal. I can't
Yeah.
go full boat with no work. I cannot go full boat with no work. So
There's no way.
that's going to have to be a reality for both of us. And I know in California, the actually anybody in California. Sorry, I'm just dealing with this, but anybody in California, the one thing that the laws do is they do favor the renter. You know what I mean? So if you are a
Yes. Yeah.
landlord and you're doing something, you better. I would say be smart, keep the people in place because you'll probably come out on the
Hmm.
other end okay. But just know you're going to have to work with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's
Yeah.
on a contract, Bernie. Mortgages, rental
Right?
contracts. I know you could slip to after the first year you can go month to month, but I think the majority of all loans are on contracts. What's the problem with just adding on another month or two to the contract? They're still going to,
Well,
the
yes,
financial
you're going
companies
to
are still going to
stretch
get
it
their
out.
money.
You're
Just
still going to
stretch it
get it,
out.
and you're going to stretch it out. You know what I mean? And I think there's an argument to be made for, and this is why I make my $4,000 a month argument. You know what I mean? It would at least keep the money flowing through the economy. It may not be enough, but let's make it realistic. Not this 1,200 crap. That's 300 a week. That's 300 a week. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, let's
Yeah.
just get real. You know what I mean? I know Mitch McConnell. Where's he from? Kentucky or something like that? I'm sure there's people that can get by on 300 a week, but they're in poverty. You know,
Yes.
they're in
Absolutely.
poverty, and
They're living out of their car. Yeah.
yeah. Well, exactly. And you know how many people are already living in their car already? You know, it's a dirty little secret, but in our industry, there's a whole gaggle of people who are at the lower end on the PA side, maybe on the ones that aren't working the big jobs and stuff like that. They may live in their car half the times. Maybe they're on a couch the other times. There's some serious, serious problems with our industry, with our society. Everybody says the same thing. They go, "Oh, I hate the homeless. The homeless are so terrible. Somebody ought to do something about that." Well, who's doing anything about it? No one. No one.
Yeah.
And
No one.
and since you pulled the court, Gary, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here.
Yeah.
Go.
Thanks, Gary.
It angers
Sorry about
me.
that,
It
Tony.
angers me like to no end to hear this $15 an hour minimum wage. That's designed to keep people down on the farm. The real minimum wage should be $25 an hour. Then you could at least have a chance at 40 hours a week of getting yourself an apartment, getting yourself a car, actually live a decent life. And I hear the same thing. We go, "Oh, well, then the hamburgers would cost $15. You want to pay for it?" Well, maybe the freaking hamburger should cost 15 fucking dollars. I mean,
Hey, they cost $15
The show is
at a
no
good
longer rated
restaurant.
PG. Sorry, folks.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. There's kids at home too. I got to watch it. There's kids at
Just
Yeah,
home.
with
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty. Nick's kids
just
are
with the
watching this
extra
right now.
rated.
Just keep that in mind.
No, Nick knows better than that. Nick
No, that's
knows
true.
better than that.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Yeah, there's
So
an interesting meme floating around, which I think is kind of amusing. Is that, and I can't remember the exact wording, but essentially it is that we're now relying on all of these people who are out there doing the foods and the food services and stuff. The people that so many said, oh, they don't deserve $15 an hour, and now they're essential jobs.
Right, right. That's absolutely correct. Um, and look who's behind the counter now too, because this isn't the old days where it was all high school kids when I grew up, or somebody in the that's just coming out of high school or going in college. These are people who are 40 plus, in some cases 50, and even 60, it seems. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they're out there trying to make that wage. And they're not just working that job, they're working other jobs too. And those are the biggest candidates for living in your car. And let's just go here. At the same time, what are they doing? They're packaging all of these damn hamburgers and fries in styrofoam cups, and Starbucks is putting all the plastic into the environment and all that crap. This shit has got to change, people. It's got to change. I mean, look, I'm somebody who should be totally invested in this culture and government and everything like that. I'm of the age of that. And look, the country's been good to me. I love the country. The people have been good to me. But we're taking a royal screwing right now. And it just seems to me either one, people don't care, or they're too damn busy with their head down and can't make the change. They're telling us to sit home and do nothing. I think we should have some sort of protest. I think there should be some kind of general strike somewhere doing something. You know what I mean? Maybe, I don't know what it is. I don't even know what to call for, but there's got to be a way we can make our feelings known and make a dent and scare them somehow, you know. And
Yeah.
that's the corporate
Yeah.
world too.
And at this point, really the best thing you can keep doing is what I've been doing, especially with AB5. Oh man, getting used to hearing your own voice in the headset is really weird.
It's not
Sorry, I may stumble and repeat myself. I apologize. Um, is I've been getting on Twitter, on Facebook, and writing directly to Congress people, both state and federal,
That is a great
about
idea.
AB5. I mean, but it's the best thing you can do just to make sure that you're continually making sure your voice is heard. Because trust
Yeah,
me, there are a lot of other disaffected people out there, and
right,
a lot of them are doing that same thing. But we can encourage more people to do it, because the more
right.
these people hear their voice, and the more that they possibly be threatened for losing an election or losing their jobs if they're not doing the will of the people. I know some ignore it, like McConnell, but what can you do?
Yeah, yeah.
The more that we can make our voice heard and keep at them, and the better chance that they're going to listen.
No, that's very true, Tony. That is very, very true. And you know what? I took my rant video and I've been tweeting that to Representative House in the House, not just from California, but all over. Let me see something here. I go. John Curtis, give me. Yeah, yeah. My grandpa makes $19 an hour driving a semi since he was 18. So there's a guy who has been. Oh, right here. Okay, thank you, Tony. Yeah. So there's a guy. Thank
All
you for
right.
that, John. I appreciate that. So here's a guy, and this really represents something that I know a lot about, and that is the stagnation for the last 30 years of wages in this country. Okay, so he's been working since he was 18. That's John's grandfather. He's still making 19 bucks an hour. That's ridiculous. They have suppressed wages in this country so bad. I mean, really, the minimum wage in California, I think, is $12 an hour. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You know, and you can you can do that at the same time that these CEOs have risen. And when you're hearing what the CEO means, that means his staff, his people, his infrastructure around him are making these huge dollars too. he's risen like 3, 4, 500%, in that
Yeah.
same time. and
Yeah.
and that's really the shame. I frankly, I put my guys out there usually at anywhere from 55 to $65 an hour, and I think the average wage for anybody skilled should be $50 an hour. I mean, that's the real world now. That's what it cost you
Yeah.
to go pay rent, to buy a home. Oh, forget even buying a home. 16%, only 16% of people making $82,000, which is the average wage in Orange County, only 16% qualify to buy a home.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
difficult. And my wife and I got lucky. We bought our house 20 years ago when
Yep,
prices were way down, and within 10 years, our house had tripled. So I mean,
right.
it's we couldn't afford to buy the house we live in right now, which is kind of sad. And my wife and I both do really well. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. There was something I was going to piggyback on, and I've forgotten what that was. Anyway,
Well, let
yeah,
me give
you're
you
right.
this. Let me
Wages
give
have
you this one.
stagnated. I can tell you this.
Yeah.
Part of the problem is, especially with people who are in businesses for any length of time, because businesses, once they've got you in, there's no impetus to raise your rate or to raise your
Not
wage.
at all.
Now, we're years. I worked for Time Warner for 27 years, and frankly, I should have gotten out of there long before I did. But
Right.
it's all these tiny incremental. Oh, you got a 3% raise this year. Congratulations. So there's no impetus for people, for them to raise rates. You have to skip from job to job. I think sometimes the millennials have the right idea these days. They spend a couple of years at a job, learn what they need to learn, move to the next job.
I
It's
totally agree with
honestly,
that.
yeah, it's the best way to sort of up your game right now. Why am I not?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what, Tony?
Okay,
I'll tell you
bye,
something.
Gary.
I'll tell you something too. Yeah, Gary got hungry. He had to go eat.
Yeah.
Um, uh, but you know what? Think of this. First of all, you come out of college with $100,000 in debt.
Yeah.
Now you're expected to go buy a home. Okay. And then, of course, you need a home, you need furnishings, you need a car, right?
Yeah.
So now somebody is probably racked up, just out of 25 years old, racked up like 200,000 bucks in debt,
Yeah.
right? And now, what are you stuck doing? They want you to be we used to, a Bob Dylan song, "We ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more." When you've got to work on the farm, and you're going to be a farmhand, and they're going to tell you what to do.
Oh, sure.
I'll tell you, there's only one thing that all you people, and the guys in our industry know this, they understand that, and that's your own intellectual property. That's your own brain and
Yeah.
what you know and how you make that work for yourself, not the man. You have to make that work for yourself, and you have to gain knowledge and then be able to monetize that knowledge.
Yeah.
And so many people want the security to just have a nice apartment, nice car, do that. They put all their eggs in one basket and become an employee.
Yeah.
The thing that I'd love to stop is this thinking that you have security as an employee. You
No.
have no security as an employee.
No.
You are cannon fodder.
It's modern day indentured servitude, basically. I
Absolutely.
mean, you're right.
Absolutely.
You're right. People are
Yeah.
in debt for
Yeah.
tens of thousands of dollars, and they have no choice but to take the job the job that's offered to them. I mean, as much as people would like to have the job that they want or get into the career that they went to school with, it
Right.
just, some are lucky. It does happen, more power to you, but it doesn't always happen that way. So, they take the best job they can, and they get stuck in that. And then, yeah, you're not getting married. You're not having kids. You're not buying that house. I mean, but then again, I sing in barbershop. I sing with a lot of people who are younger than me. And the prevailing attitude is not always necessarily that those things are necessary.
Yeah,
The whole,
yeah.
the whole American dream, so to speak, of home ownership and you know a picket fence and 2.1 kids is not
Oh yeah,
necessarily the
oh yeah.
same for them.
Yeah, no, that's. I'm just looking. I'm looking around because I see my plug is unplugged here. I see I have 8% on my computer.
Oh, gee, hey, didn't we
I
warn you
don't.
that before we started?
No, you did. No, I don't. It must have got pulled out. It must have got pulled out. But I think I'll make it. I think I'll make it. So I think I'm good. But no, that is. You know what? And I hope we're losing that. Because
I do
there's
too.
really things from the 1800s and the 1900s and this whole thing about employment, work, get a job, support your family, and which is was really burnt in the 50s after World War II. You know what I mean? That was
Yeah.
really burnt in. We have to change our thinking, people. You are an intellectual animal. You own your brain. That brain makes you money. And when you team that brain up with other brains, you can dominate a field or an industry just like we do in media production. You know what I mean? Look who comes together. It's the producer, it's the director, it's the DP, it's the grips, it's the makeup, it's the art department, it's wardrobe, it's all of those things. We're all using our brains to make a bigger cause, a bigger thing. And that's how you have to think about it. In fact, I think that the way we come together on movies and a project and just maybe a shoot for a few days is exactly how the future is going to look for any corporate entity where we come together, do this project, it's run, and then we go to another project. That's the way to do it, and that's the way you monetize your own brain.
Yep, I agree. I agree. Gary? Where's Gary?
Oh,
We're
We're
gonna have
supposed to be
there
doing
he
on
is.
great.
lockdown.
Thank you, John. What are you, Gary? Did Gary run silent, run deep with us?
Yeah,
Oh no,
he's back.
no,
He's
no!
back.
I'm still here.
Hey,
I'm
baby.
still here.
I clicked his audio off briefly because when folks walked in there, so
Yeah,
he's good.
Mother Nature
Yeah.
called.
Yeah. Hey, we got 10 minutes left. We got less
Yeah.
than 10 minutes left in the show. What are we talking about? I want to hear from people. I want to know what you're
Yeah, I want
doing
to
to
know.
pass the
Yeah.
time. You heard us
Yes,
talk for
yes,
50
please.
minutes.
Ron Sill, right? We got something from Ron Sill. John Curtis, thank you for your support too, buddy. Thank you so much. Let me hear from my brother Ron. Ron's such a great guy. As an employee, you have certain advantages and benefits, but you are at the whim of management and subject to change. And unless you're in favored status, also the subject of change, you are at risk. And isn't that the truth? Yeah, yeah, I see you got it there. Yeah.
Yep.
Isn't that the truth? Because you sit at the judgment of other people, not at the judgment of yourself. One thing that I love about film and video is when you're out there in the field, and Gary, you've seen this a million times, there's
Mhm.
guys that have no barometer on themselves. They spout off, they say the wrong things, they do the wrong things, and I did too when I first started out. But you learn very quickly on how to handle yourself and what to do. If you're just allowing and you can manage your way through all those situations with different people and stuff like that. If you're just waiting for somebody to correct you when you're wrong, you're going to be out of favor. There's a new favorite coming along,
Mhm.
you know, and
Hey,
that's always a good thing.
what's that phrase you like to use? You've used for years with it. Eyes open, ears
Oh
listening,
yeah,
mouth
yeah,
closed.
yeah,
What is
yeah. Head
that?
down, head
Head down.
down, ears open, mouth shut.
There you go.
Mouth shut.
Yeah, we got
Yeah,
a question, Bernie.
yeah,
We
yeah,
actually have a
yeah. I
question.
see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
who do we have? Mitchell Wood. Is that
Yeah,
who we
Mitchell Wood.
got? Yeah,
Michelle?
Mitchell.
Michelle.
Yeah, would you
Mitchell.
recommend moving closer to a larger community? I live far away from big production areas and as a freelancer, so work is already tight, I'm
Something.
sure he
Yeah.
says there. Yeah, already slow. You know what? I absolutely, and I'm so glad, Mitchell, that you brought that up because, as a freelancer and somebody in this, you have to constantly be assessing your employability and the marketplace that you work in. and who else is in that marketplace. And you have to make some hard decisions sometimes. Sometimes you have to go to a place that you're not comfortable with. I certainly was not comfortable with Los Angeles when I moved down here. And I came from Tacoma, Washington, so kind of the same deal. I was not in this industry when I lived there, but when I got into this industry, I realized I could work here. And that's really what you have to do. You're in charge of your future. You have to position yourself for the best opportunity that you can have. So, yes, I would definitely say that's a very strong consideration.
I agree.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Bernie. Same thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, moving closer to the big city, it's good for some, but not good for others.
Mhm.
But you have to make that decision on your own.
Yeah, and I
and
think
you
it
know
depends
what?
on what you do as well. I,
Oh, absolutely,
in my situation, I
absolutely.
can hit it from anywhere. I could
Yeah,
live anywhere
yeah.
I wanted to,
Right.
Sam.
Another example, Bill Hoshevnikov lives up in Sonoma, and he works all the time. And now you become a road warrior when you do that. You know what I mean? You're on the road quite a bit. Uh, uh, but that is a choice you make, and also your career takes an arc too. I think this is important. You may have to move to a closer populated area to get your start, but once you establish yourself, I mean, I live out of the heart of LA. I live in Laguna Beach. I live in a beach community about 40, 50 miles from Los Angeles, and I do pretty good there. And I always have actually. So you can work it, but I'll tell you what, your head has to be in the game. The bottom line is you have to be in the game. You have to be looking at your industry. Yeah, and this is the one that changes all the time. You have to look for that change. You have to adapt to that change, and you have to tell people and sell yourself constantly.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it is a never-ending
Good. Well
battle.
said.
Yep, yep,
Well
yep.
said.
Now
So,
Gary is the
Bernie,
best
in these,
salesman in the world.
Yep. Final thoughts, Bernie. We got
so
a couple of minutes left.
yeah, in the
Go ahead.
closing moments,
Mhm.
what are we gonna do now?
Well,
The old
what we
song.
do now, is I say, get on your representative. You should take this time to learn how to be a citizen. You get a hold of your mayor, you get a hold of your city elders, you get a hold of your representatives, you get a hold of your state assemblymen and senators, you get a hold of the governor, you get a hold of the representatives, and you get a hold of your senators in the United States Senate, and don't be polite.
Yes.
Don't use
Yeah.
the regular polite things that you use amongst other people. You be blunt and you tell them bluntly that you are not going to vote for them. That's one. But two, you will go against anything at all that they have as an agenda, and you're going to be loud and ugly about it because they have put you in this position. I'm not saying it's their fault, but look, we're required to take certain actions now, and that is hurting us financially. They've got to come to our aid.
Absolutely. I say eat right, be healthy, take walks, exercise wherever you can, and look out for yourself and of course your family. That's
Yes,
what I'm going to
yes.
leave with.
And that's what I would say too. And I want you to take time. Really, look, we're all given this blessing right now. We're all given a blessing we don't have very often, maybe in an entire career. Maybe this is the first time. You can be close to your family. Put the armor down.
Absolutely.
Put the fighting
Yes.
down. Put anything that
Yes.
bothers you personally. Put it all down and just enjoy being together. Just enjoy being with that person, those kids, that in-law. Just enjoy your time. You may never get it again in your life.
Nope, 100%. Yep. Use the time that you have now to learn, take care of yourself, take care of your family. Gary, I love that idea. Get outside, get exercise, fresh air. And
Yeah, that's great.
we're all gonna
That's
make it through
great.
this. We're all gonna see the other
Yep,
end.
yep, yep,
Right
yep.
on.
And God,
Everybody stay
God, people,
safe.
you know what? Yeah, stick together, stick together. We love you. We really appreciate you showing up here Please put any comments you got. And I saw Ron just put one in. Big fish in a small pond. Got it. And, let's stick together. Right on this feed here. Right on this feed. Let me know what you're doing and things you want to have work, and we'll talk about that. We're with
That's right.
you.
We're here.
Yeah. All right. Have a great one. Have a great one. Bye, guys. Thanks a lot, Tony.
Thanks, Bernie. Thanks, Tony.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Then set.